Welcome. We now present a paper entitled Council for Educational Cooperation, the Development of Students' Democratic Participation. It's from these three authors, Diogo and Carolina. They are primary and middle school teachers with master's degree graduated from Higher School of Education in Lisbon, Portugal, in which Luís Mestre is a professor with a PhD degree. We hope you can learn more about this topic and maybe use it in your own practice. First off, we must clarify and specify what is exactly the Council for Educational Cooperation. We'll try to do it briefly and in a way that anyone listening can quickly understand. These authors, for example, Serralha, defines it as an organizational structure of students' school life in all its fullness. That is, the public space for the weekly meeting of the group or class, students and teacher, to jointly manage collegially everything that concerns the learning community. NISA enforces it is an ethical, democratic debate that clarifies and mobilizes evolutionary solutions that are subject to a negotiation process in dialogue, where the social rules of coexistence are produced, discussed, and clarified from planning to evaluation, and where other learning routines inscribed in the educational environment are regulated, as well as emotions, rights, and duties. Although there are many moments throughout the week when the students are in council, usually there is one important moment on Fridays afternoons which is led mainly by the students and where there are one president and one secretary that help the class read through the class diary that was filled throughout the week by all students with things that they liked, they didn't like, and that they propose should happen in the future. They then discuss them, argue, and negotiate solutions to best solve them, and the secretary writes down on the minutes what was agreed upon at the council. In the next week's council, what was written on the minutes is revisited to check whether the decisions were complied with by everyone during the week. Why then is this council so important in the educational environment for the students? We know that the development of students' democratic participation in the classroom is a priority in today's schools to uphold this crucial right and, therefore, to foster their full participation as active citizens, preparing them for life in society. The Council for Educational Cooperation is indeed a great way to develop the students' democratic participation. About this, NISA says that the Council is an engine of moral development, which means students reflect cooperatively on actions and values, and social and civic development, which means students co-construct norms, manage to develop self-control and democratic values, self-regulation, and the ability to negotiate, which is corroborated by Serralha that says it provides human growth and social moral development to all students, and enables the progressive development of the ability to think about oneself, others, and the world. This comes from conflict solving, constant reflection on the problems that arise with regard to the council, also developing the ability to actively solve problems, to feel confident in doing so, and to be aware that he or she can be an engine of change, him or herself, in others and in the society in which he or she operates. This study was carried out with 25 students from a third-year class of primary school, and some aspects regarding the Council for Educational Cooperation were observed that motivated the studies, such as the insufficient autonomy of the students in the management of the Council, the tasks of the President and Secretaries were not fulfilled, there was little participation and weak accountability of students in the Council, there was non-compliance with some ethical clarification steps, and the minutes were written by all students in the daily notebook. Therefore, the main objective of this paper was to study the processes of democratic participation of students in the Council for Educational Cooperation, and it aimed to characterize students' perceptions of the Council, describe students' participation in the Council, implement with the cooperation of the students strategies to improve the functioning of the Council, and describe the evolution of students' participation in the Council. A qualitative methodology was followed, taking into account procedures close to the research action methodology. Thus, in this case, it is intended to improve the moments of the Council and enhance students' participation, developing in them democratic participation and the competences that this mechanism provides them in a reflective and dialogical way. This is, therefore, part of a paradigm of critical action research, since the researchers have a moderating role in the process and the group collectively assumes responsibility for the development and transformation of the practice. As data gathering techniques, survey by questionnaire, focus group interview, participant observation, and documentary research were privileged. For the data analysis, we resort mainly to content analysis following the assumptions of Bardin. The research was held throughout three major moments according to the following design. A pre-intervention moment in which the steps taken were the survey by questionnaire to the group of students, a first focus group interview, which was a collective moment to return and disclose the questionnaire results and agree on changes to the council with a view to its improvement, and the creation of support instruments and changes to the council agreed and developed with the students. A moment during intervention in which the steps taken were the implementation of the amendments developed for council support and regulation instruments built, and the observation of students' participation. And lastly, a post-intervention moment in which the final focus group interview was held in the last council to evaluate with the students the changes that were implemented. We'll now talk about the results of this study. Regarding the students' perceptions of the council, the students refer to the four main functions of the council mentioned by Serralha, except the regulation of learning paths. All students consider the council important. Some functions of the president and the secretary were neither recognized nor fulfilled. Some students like the role of president while others dislike it and avoid it. Some students did not seem to recognize all the steps for problem solving, and the majority considered that modifications to the council were not necessary, while others highlighted the willingness to stop writing minutes in their daily notebook and the desire for their colleagues to participate more. About the students' participation, it was observed that there was an initial difficulty in managing the council autonomously. The survey results show that 9 students said they do not participate in the council, although the observation grade results tell us that more than half the students of this class does not participate in the council. There were some changes made to the council in this class, such as the implementation of 2 secretaries, the creation of posters with the roles of the president and secretaries, a guide with steps to solve problems in the council, checklists, and the official minutes template. These helped overcome some of the initial observations. These are some examples of those changes. We can see the posters with the function of the president and secretary, and a guide to solve problems. And here we have the checklists and the official minutes template. Through these changes, it was possible to monitor the students' participation in the council, whose evolution can be analyzed through this bar chart. It can be said that there was a slight improvement, although not as much as hoped and intended. The short period of time in which this study took place may explain this. Future interventions should be applied to overcome this, such as checklists to regulate participation, and perhaps encourage the writing of more "I like" and "I propose" items on the class diary. Regarding the conclusions of this study, we can say that there are still some difficulties in explaining the intentions of the acts practiced by the students involved in the situation discussed and in trying to put oneself in other people's shoes. There is still some difficulty in the autonomous management of the council, although there was an improvement observed. More than half of the students do not participate, and there was little significant improvement. Through this research, it was attested that the council is indeed an excellent way for the students to cultivate values of active democratic participation, as well as to develop social, moral, and cognitive skills that allow them to live and prosper in their classroom and, later in life, replicate it into the community and society that they'll be a part of. This can be observed whenever they discuss and solve common problems, confront and accept different points of view, or put themselves in other people's shoes and try to comprehend sympathetically other people's intentions and actions. Although this pedagogical strategy is widely practiced and accepted within the modern school movement in Portugal, having its own guidelines and recommendations as to how it should function, some adjustments must be made within each class to better meet their specificities and needs. Furthermore, it is also worth mentioning that the critical action research model paradigm used in this study is undoubtedly a great way to analyze, reflect on, and perfect the practice in educational contexts, which involves the participation of students and teachers alike in a cooperative, dialogic, and meta-reflective way. These are the references used in this presentation. We thank you for your time, and if you want, you can check the original work and research on which this paper is based on the QR code or link below.